Alright friends, hello, welcome back. We're back on the Sneezing Space Rock, exactly where we left off, so no time has passed. If you don't know what this is Oxygen Not Included's brand new DLC. It is now in early access. It is called Spaced Out, and this is the very first time I have seen it or played it. So we're just going to be messing up, and we're going to be trying to do the right thing, which we don't know that's going to be. We're just going to be playing through, and I'm obviously messing up this intro, so that ought to be appropriate. If you missed the last video, we immediately flooded our base. That was great. But where we left off is setting up our Great Hall. We will be obviously trying to get more food up, which we are struggling on just a little bit. We just went and got some swamp chard, which we had to dig out. So there's a couple more of them over here, but I do want to get rid of all this water and kind of put it somewhere before... What is happening? This thing's like quivering now that it's done. We want to get this water out of the way before we can really start making a lot of progress, so that's where we are. Some really cool animation on this mud. Such a respect for artists that can create stuff like this, because it's just like... It's just lines, and they make it look really cool. This game in particular has a very charming art style. This is so weird. We already have space technology. Which I know that's kind of part of the idea. Oh, by the way, here's one of their, like, debug assets. It doesn't even have finished colors and stuff yet, so... An example of one of the many things that will change over time. But yeah, it's very weird to have rocketry. Rocketry in particular is something that I think they wanted to make a lot more accessible, so I have no idea what the right time is to try to get off planet. What is this? A Sweetle? Non-hostile creatures excrete large amounts of solid sucrose, which I saw was like rocket fuel before. So maybe this is one of the better ways to get rocket fuel in the early game. They're related to the Grubhub, and they're less effective. They eat sulfur. Huh. Where are we getting sulfur from? Oh, here we go. Just dig it out of the wall. If only they knew how much food was actually in this wall. They're feeling like Simon Belmont right now, except it's not a pork chop. Or whatever it might be. Turkey leg? Something like that? Let me harvest this, and then I'm going to dig this up and move it. We do have decorative plants. I usually don't worry about that much. Let's see if this pushes up high enough to actually make this. Oh yeah, that should be totally fine. Which should turn this into a great hall, I think, right away. And there we go. Alright, cool. So we're covered on that. Oh, I forgot to disable this. Okay. But this does at least prove the point that pitcher pumps, if they're put inside a mixed set of liquids, it'll actually get out the kind that you want. So that's kind of cool. I'm idling here, so... Why is nobody harvesting this? Can I not? If they're all idle, they should be harvesting this. Can they not reach it? Oh yeah, that's probably why. I don't know why they couldn't. They could before. Maybe I dug it out by accident. Alright, next print. I'm not going to continue to take duplicates. If you're following my other series, you might notice that we were taking duplicates literally as fast as they could possibly be produced. We're not going to do that in this one, because we don't want to die. How much does this produce? Alright, we're at 26. Wait, did that produce anything? Oh no, it just hasn't updated yet. Oh, it was produced by the time I clicked on it. Okay. That's not great, I guess. We do need a place to store our food, too. Something that I really haven't thought too much about. So let's go ahead and do that. And if I want dudes to be running it there, I want it somewhere nearby. So I'll worry about that in a bit. Especially with all this polluted oxygen. That's going to be kind of a problem for food storage. Let's get all this water out of the way first so I can actually dig most of this out. And then I'll put it right here. Literally about 2 seconds away from asking, how does that sound? Nobody would be able to hear me. Oh, I need to actually put this in here. Oh, we have 3 more. Nice. I don't know why I'm doing it the hard way, but there you go. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and start digging this out. Starting getting rid of some of this polluted water and kind of funneling it to a place we want it to go. Probably shouldn't have done this, actually. Let me redo this. Cancel. I want to make these ladders just so there's no chance of it spilling over into places I don't want. There's already water down in a place that I don't want either. There's actually a lot of Pacus down here. Pacus? I don't know how people pronounce it. This is one of those things where if you play a game where you only see something in text for so long, you start just saying it that way because you just guess. And then you hear someone else say it and you're like, oh, have I just been saying it wrong this whole time, or are they saying it wrong? You know what's interesting is there's just wires sticking out right here. Maybe, what is happening? Spindly grub fruit plant. This reminds me a lot of Don't Starve, which is another clay game. Just this animation and stuff on this plant. I don't know why, but that just really strikes me as very Don't Starve. I'm assuming there's some artist out there that has worked on both games. So if this was you, if you're the person that drew this and animated this, you're doing a good job. I can tell. Alright, once we get the ladders in there, let's go ahead and start digging this out. And like I would typically do when I want to funnel water down somewhere, I will just start digging ladders up, like so. And then we'll dig this out this way. And that should pretty much clear it. Then I'll just mop the rest. I do want to mess around with these plug slugs. I'm just not quite ready yet. Are they eating my cobalt? Iron, gold. They eat metal. Is that actually good then? They're producing hydrogen too. I guess I don't know. I don't have a sense for how much metal I'm going to have, but it doesn't look outstanding. So maybe that's not as lucrative as I thought. My whole base is just polluted oxygen. This is going to be a mess for a long time. Speaking of which, I need to get back on my research. So let's check this out. What do we want next? We have a Great Hall, which is one of the first things we want to get. We could start getting plumbing for our plants so we don't have to run water back and forth manually. So since I don't really have any better ideas right now, which will probably change our minds at some point, let's just start getting plumbing and start getting some of the things that we need to maybe ranch. Maybe that would be a good idea. I think the next dupe I grab will be a farmer, which will be somebody that takes care of all the plants and all of the ranching and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, we're getting this stuff cleared out. Once we get this all mopped up, I'll be able to actually build an area that is kind of set down in the floor a little bit so I can store my food there so that we're not wasting food, which is definitely a big problem. Breathability. What is this complaining about? Huh. Is this just saying that the percentage of the space in my base is that breathable? I don't know what 64% means, but okay. Sure, we'll go with that. We need to start assigning skills. I'm slacking. Alright, we need to get you on building. You're obviously on mining. You're obviously on operating, which... Oh, you came with a trait. Dang, that's actually kind of good. Work in progress skill. This is looking like a debug skill right here. Alright, let's get an operator and a researcher. Sorry, I'm getting very distracted by all the different things that they're doing in this game. Start mopping some of this stuff up, at least to get it off the floor. It's still going to produce polluted oxygen, which we can't really avoid right now. And we'll get some stuff down here to store our food. Which, I think, is that going to be good? We need to put this down here. I'm always really annoyed by these taking up more spaces. It doesn't look like they actually take up the spaces above them, but they do, so... I guess I'll just do something like that so my dupes can get over it. That was weird. Wasn't actually placing tiles for me for a second, but looks like we're good. See, these are starting to complain that there's no power wire connected, and maybe... I'm really debating if I want to use these right now because power is not a huge need. I think I'm going to wait a little bit, and I don't want to burn a bunch of my metal. Let me see how much I actually have. Agriculture. Oh, they alphabetized this. Nice. Alright, 12.5 tons. That's not a lot. And I don't really need the hydrogen. And if I start farming these things, how much do they actually put out? It'd be nice if you told me. What is power? Alright, we'll worry about that later. I'm still not sure how I feel about this, because I don't want hydrogen. I don't have a use for it right now. And maybe when I actually do start ranching these, I'll make a specific setup that will pump the hydrogen out and we can get power from it. So it'll kind of like double down on the power that these things produce. But I don't know how much they actually put out, so it would be interesting to know. Does this say? Nope. Okay. Guess we're just going to find out. Alright, let's go ahead and copy this. All of our edible stuff in there. Delete this one. This will eventually fill up with carbon dioxide, so if you're wondering why I'm doing this, that is definitely why. Just to have a nice place to store it, and the carbon dioxide is going to make its decay rate lower, but it would not surprise me if they change that. Only because it is a little bit weird. Not the most elegant thing, but we'll see what it says. Definitely some pollution exposure. That's going to be bad. I don't know how long would I need to wait for that, but we'll check back on that later. Nice. Managed to wall myself in with sand. Alright. Let's keep cleaning this stuff up. Let's keep digging over here. Let's measure out how far this needs to go. I say that as if anybody does this other than me, but that's what I do. Space everything out equally so that we can transfer rooms and grow and shrink as we need to. There's a lot of sand over here, which is good because we're going to start filtering this oxygen pretty soon. This whole base is going to be a mess. Alright, how am I going to solve that? Because this is going to be nothing but polluted dirt, or sorry, polluted oxygen until I solve this problem. And I'm not going to be able to really solve this problem very well by just dropping deodorizers everywhere. It's going to be a huge tax. So I don't want to do that. Ceiling collapse. Did you get hurt from this? Why is this complaining? Okay. Alright, I don't really know what that means. I'm used to that happening in RimWorld every once in a while, and sometimes that just means your character dies. So I don't know what that means in this game, but maybe it's just a convenience to tell you that. Gonna keep expanding down here. Gonna keep looking for stuff that's around me. These things are kind of interesting. I don't really know what to make of those. You also note that we really don't have hatches, at least not as far as I've seen, so our typical flow of getting onto coal next is not really going to be a thing as far as I know. So, yeah. The other thing to think about is, do I have a renewable source of polluted water? And I don't know what the answer to that is. I know I have a renewable source of... Oh, here we go. Right on time. Here's our renewable source of polluted water, which means that we can continually grow these things, but this water is probably too cold. Because it comes out at 14 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm also going to apologize for those of you that got really excited about my mod to show all the different temperature settings. As soon as I launched the game, it basically said, sorry, we don't support mods right now, and it turned it off. So I'm going to have to run on Fahrenheit. I'm just not used to reading things in Celsius, so I will look at something and be like, I know generally what that means, but I don't know specifically what that means, so I don't know if I'm doing good or bad on that front. So y'all are just going to have to learn my freedom units. And yes, the worst usage of the word y'all there is very intentional. Alright. You just keep digging over here, I guess. I don't know if I have the mining skill to get through a lot of this. Definitely not to this far, so... I don't know what the characteristics are of these guys. It says non-violent, but I don't know if that says the same thing with the critters that were introduced a little bit later in the vanilla, which is those poke shells, or pokey shells, or however you want to call that. Yet another word that I've only ever seen typed. I don't know if I'm actually saying it correctly, so somebody's probably going to hear that and be like, wait, what did you just say? So I said pokey shells or poke shells. I don't know what it is. Thing is, should I make any effort to try and preserve this? Because this is not... This is all surrounded by granite, which means that this is going to slowly start bleeding in my base. I can already see it's getting pretty cold. Do I need to worry about this? Let's take a second to think. Let's do some thought thinking. And I don't know... So let's think about this as if I were playing on Rime. Rime is a very cold map. And I think it was really rare that I actually used any sort of heaters or anything like that on that map. And the temperature of other stuff around here is not that cold, so I think I'm just going to ignore it. And I think I'm just going to let it cool my base down over time because I will heat it back up. And these plants can go kind of low, 50 degrees. Not super low, but it's still pretty low. And we're not really flirting with danger there yet, but I do need to keep an eye on that, so definitely something to think about. Let's find more of these seeds. I'm just going to keep digging aggressively in this area. Keep trying to unearth some stuff. Head into this area and see what's over here. There's actually mafic rock in this area, which I guess is kind of interesting. Some carpet here, too. I don't even know if I've ever built carpet before, which is maybe a sin to admit. Digging down here. I need to get my research going, so I'm noticing my research is over there helping dig a hole. Okay, so we wanted to get the automatic irrigations. Let's go ahead and grab this. I'm probably going to grab ranching next, just to start messing around with these critters, because if I'm not in danger of dying, I still do want to start learning as much as I can. We need an advanced research station too, so let's build that. Supercomputer. Hello, computer. There we go. Alright. I need this second digging skill. It looks like this is definitely the first biome that I've seen, well, outside of the ice, but the first biome I've seen that's really familiar. This biome's definitely not, this starting biome's not the ice. Definitely not something you see surrounding your entire base, especially with the rust in there, so I guess this technically is a new biome. I need to find where this goes, though. Won't be fully operational until a duplicant submits a bioscan, which means I need to get to it, obviously. I guess that would mean so that you couldn't, like, warp to another one, assuming this is how this actually works. I'm so used to playing on the other run, where I have the game automatically pause when something is ready to print, so I just sat there for a second expecting it to take me back to the printing pod, but it didn't. So I'm indirectly trolling myself. Kitchen Menace. What is this? Flatulent. Definitely don't want them. You know, I did this for a little while, and this is something that I'm going to just talk about. I was trying to do a run at one point where I took nothing but flatulent dupes to see if that would be interesting, but it just wasn't challenging enough. So I might have to bring that back at some point and see if I could make that interesting. Maybe stack that with a bunch of other challenges, like we can only produce power from farts and nothing else. Once it gets up. Alright. Digging around here. I'm hitting the side of the map already. So, are these smaller asteroids? They might be. Because I'm hitting the side of the map about here. And the other side's about here. So these might be a lot smaller asteroids, which I guess is good, because a lot of the times when you build a base on the normal-sized asteroids, like 60 to 70% of the base is empty. So this is interesting. We're going to hit the wall here pretty soon. It's like right here. You can see where the neutronium starts, and that signals the edge. So we're almost there already. So this is a lot smaller than I expected. Very interesting. I also don't know if when these things die, they actually still produce meat. It would be interesting to know. Don't know what kind of utility I can get off of this, but these seem like a little bit of an indirect replacement for hatches, because hatches are effectively like your early-ish to mid-game power. So maybe that's what those are supposed to be for. I'll probably have to mess around with them at some point. I also want to mess around with these things, too. These things will eat sulfur, right? Yeah, these eat sulfur and excrete sucrose. Let's see what this is for. For cooking, refined and eat meals with increased duplicate morale. I thought there was an engine that was about this, too. Am I mistaken? Is one of our engines a sugar engine? Or am I just making this up? No, yeah, here we go. Engine of a rocket must be built first before rocket modules can be installed. Huh, okay. Well, another thing that we need to do, and something that I've been forgetting about a little bit, is we need to dig to the surface to start venting our carbon dioxide. So we'll need to do that eventually. It's not a huge risk right now, because we're doing fine. I'm also not sure what to expect at the bottom, because the bottom of the asteroid was typically where you would find really valuable stuff, like oil. Yeah, so I don't really know what to make of that yet. Do want to mess around with this, but I don't know where the other one is. I think I'm going to wait until I find a second one before I mess around with it too much. These guys definitely have some space we could work with down there. Let's start getting this stuff out of the way and see how much further down we can dig. By getting it out of the way, what I mean is I'm just probably going to pour it into here maybe and either melt a bunch of it or freeze a bunch of it. And I don't really care which of the two happens. I do want to check these out too. They take sulfur also. So sulfur apparently is an interesting, like, thing that's being used. And as far as I could tell in the vanilla game, the only thing sulfur would be generated from is when you, I think, froze natural gas. It's something like, it's either that or when you froze sour gas. I can't remember, but all it would do is just exist as sulfur. And was that a byproduct? It may have been a byproduct. I may be thinking of methane. I can't remember which is which. I think the sulfur may have just been like wasted sour gas effectively, but yeah, definitely very interesting. We do need to start putting this polluted dirt all into the same area so that we don't need to build so much decontamination, which we will need to research here pretty soon. This researcher is really fast, by the way. They're just flying. Look at this go. Mason's got it under control. Oh, by the way, for those of you that saw the thumbnail, here you go. This is it. I just found a place to take a picture and threw it in there. So, thumbnail of the video right there. Behind the scenes action. Do I have sulfur to start feeding these? And is there a point? Do I need sugar right now? I think the answer is probably no. What we should do, though, is we should start messing around with different food. Let's start building just the different food production types, and let's see what we can make. Because one complaint that I had from the vanilla version is that you could only really cook a few foods reasonably. Like, they were just so much better than the other types, there wasn't a reason to make some of the other types. So maybe by virtue of, like, depriving you of resources, it's forcing you to produce different foods. So let's see what new stuff they added, because they did talk about sugar being a part of that. And I don't know if that means that they just put sugar on any food, or if the sugar is an essential ingredient to cooking some foods, but let's mess around with that a little bit. I'm gonna keep digging over here. Gonna keep going with our research. I do want to take another dupe the next time I have a print coming up. I want to take a dupe that's going to be my farmer, that can keep up my food a little bit better, and we'll start getting into ranching. I do have somebody that's capable of ranching right now, I suppose, because of that early trait, but I don't really know what I'm going to get. I'm going to be spending metal feeding these guys, going to have to keep them up, and I'm going to be getting sugar and power, which I don't really need either of those right now. Alright, research is done. We got farming, park sign, fertilizer, and some of these tiles, which I'm going to start planting. I want to start planting these in kind of a central area that's kind of insulated, so I'm going to start probably planting them right here instead. I don't know why, I just see an animal, or I guess a critter in this case, and I'm thinking about planting plants, and I'm just nervous that they're going to ruin it, or they're going to eat it or something. That probably wouldn't happen, but that's just a little paranoia I have about it, apparently. Alright, let's see what else we got. We could probably go get this. We might as well go get that, so we can at least start adding more food. Gonna harvest this automatically. Could dig out some of this chard. We have a decent amount of food now, so at least we're keeping up on that. What does this produce again? Bog jellies. They're a terrible quality. Oh, it looks like we have different preservation temperatures, too. These spoil in 2 cycles? What is this? Wow. Okay, then. Still not entirely in carbon dioxide. I do wonder if they took that out. That would be interesting to know because, as many people have pointed out, you can get away without ever needing to build refrigerators, and there are just objectively better solutions for that. Which is true. I've just always been a little bit lazy about it, about building refrigerators. A lot of times I'll just build them because I don't want to have to build the other contraptions that they'll solve, and they don't take that much power, but maybe I'll get my revenge by way of you sort of being forced to make refrigerators on some level or another. And I will take great pleasure in that. Let's see, what else do we need right now? Let's get some of this pressure management. Let's start pushing into into deodorizers. Let's see what we can set up here, because my whole base is basically polluted oxygen right now. This is going to require that if I dig something out, I'm going to have to run it into one place, but we're almost out of the starting biome, which means that all of the polluted dirt that's in the ground is known. So that's a good thing, as far as I can tell. Then we could probably start putting all of our water in one place, because there is a lot of mopped up water here, so we might as well just start doing that. Flip this. Oh, I thought I opened up a big patch of water. That would have been bad. What's this called? Like a blob of water? Body of water, maybe? I don't know what you would refer to this as like a whole object, but I'm gonna call it a blob. Somebody needs to harvest this. Hurry up. Getting impatient. Yeah, this is most definitely the edge of the map, which means that the asteroid size is much, much smaller than it was before, which means I wonder if the surface of this is like somewhere around here. Which would be interesting. That would be really fast. I'm also tempted that once I start getting up the research for insulated tiles, if I should just dig right through this and insulate both sides and then keep going. I also don't know how big of a deal that moving around resources from one colony to another is going to be, so that's something interesting that we might have to deal with. Once these are done harvesting, I'm just going to dig them up. This is not something that I have talked about too much, but a good strategy for the earlier parts of the game. Whoa, I have seeds for this. All right, what does this take? Sorry, I'm getting really distracted. 800 calories. This takes sulfur. Which, should I feed that for food, or should I feed that to these guys? I guess we might as well see what we need as far as, like, recipes, so... Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about, so... it must not have been that important. That was whatever I was talking about for me. Let's copy these. Getting some blobs and water's falling down. Someone's going to be waiting for me to finish that earlier point, but I have news for you. I don't know what I was talking about. So that'll be... Oh, I was talking about this. I was talking about a good strategy here is as soon as you need to move it from one type of plant to another, you might as well wait until you harvest it and then dig it up immediately afterward. So that when you need your next seeds, they can start getting moved over here. You can just kind of keep your eye on when these things actually produce. Because when they produce, they go back down to like 0% growth. So that's going to be exactly what happens when you put them back into the hydroponic farm. So might as well, right? Start setting up our plumbing, which we don't have because I'm being a slacker. I think I should probably plumb it from up here. All right, we're getting close to time. I think I'm going to keep going with this run, probably for a little while. I don't know how much longer. And I will probably continue exactly where we left off. I don't think I'm going to let any time pass anymore. We're just going to keep going. I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't know how many videos this is going to be. And I will keep doing this in this fashion until the game starts to slow down and getting to a point where we need to wait for more interesting stuff to happen. So... we're about at time. I'm just going to go ahead and pause here. I'm not going to show the saving part because nobody really cares about that but me. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and pause here. I'll be back with another video very, very soon, probably immediately after this, and I am uploading these pretty much as soon as I record them, so yeah, there should be another one following this really quickly, so I'll see you there really soon. Have a good one in the meantime.